Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope y'all is well with you and yours. What's good? I know it's Saturday and you're not expecting to see me on a Saturday. It's nuts, right? So, why are you seeing me on a Saturday? Well, I was doing my normal research just because it's Saturday doesn't mean I don't do my research. And I just came across a whole bunch of stuff that made me say, you know, if I'm going to be going in on it, I might as well just shoot a video. That's really what happened. See, I hate when that happens. When I misspell things and it's so blatantly obvious. It's ridiculous, but there's a lot going on. So tonight's question. What mobile carrier got hacked? AT&T, Vodafone, T-Mobile, or Verizon? Yeah. And not hacked just a little bit, hacked big, like real big, painfully big. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but I wanted to touch on something else real quick. Have you heard about LegalZoom? It sounds like LegalZoom may have a problem, some kind of a class action. Like if you've used them in the past, that they might have exposed your data. I'm seeing like not small companies have data problems. I'm also seeing these not small companies not really have a strong response. And that's a problem, right? To me, I don't know about you, but to me, that's an issue. Say what now? Did I just get logged off of CoinMarketCap? That sucks. Because I use it all the time. Like I use it just to keep up with you guys, you know, but it's back up. Bitcoin is currently at $105,456,000. Okay. So looking at all this stuff, I'm kind of like, hello to whoever is watching, just saying hello. There's a lot of stuff going on. So let's dig in. Right now, we've got Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz saying, listen, institutional adoption, not just for treasurers, but true adoption is happening so much that we could see Bitcoin reach $1 million. Now, stop and think about that. This is a guy who is a billionaire who knows his stuff. Sorry, I got to put on some lotion. I just washed my dinner plate and my hands are dry. So that's not a small thing. And I want you to stop and think about stuff. There are no good things going on in the world right now, geopolitically. We've got two major wars going on, Ukraine, Russia. Of course, Russia started it. We've got Iran, Israel. I'm not going to say who started it there because we're talking like, decades and decades and decades of hatred. So I'm going to let that go. But that's going on right now. Sounds like it's not going to let up anytime soon. It's going to get worse. So when you stop and you think about that, like we have some geopolitical tensions that are big, like real big. There are a lot of countries out there that are happy that, Iran is going to have trouble getting nuclear power or getting nuclear weapons. But they're saying that not publicly. Publicly, they're saying, oh, this is a bad thing that Israel attacked, blah, 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 blah. The reason why I bring it up is because it's going to affect oil prices at some point. It's going to possibly affect trade at some point because 20% of the world's oil goes through the Straits of Hormuz. That's not a small thing. That's something we must pay attention to, right? So still paying attention to that. You've got Jeffrey Gundlach of Double Line Capital, 65 years old, still doing his thing, been making money for eons. Forecast the Fed will resume quantitative easing to curb bond market volatility as yields near 6%, advising investors to buy long-term treasuries. That's interesting that he's telling people to buy long-term treasuries, considering I would not be touching any U.S. debt at the moment. $36 trillion in debt. There's going to come a point where we're going to have so much debt that we're not even going to be able to pay off, pay the interest every time we have to pay the interest. When does that happen? Don't know. But until I see the government actually come out with a plan to start decreasing the debt, I don't know. And we don't seem to be able to decrease spending. The president goes to his home or one of his homes. It costs us minimum $3 million. President wants, some kind of a parade for his birthday. That's going to cost us upward of $150 million. Think about that. And I don't think that includes repaving streets because all these heavy tanks are rolling across them. Yeah. These are not small things that we're talking about. We're talking about big things. So if we're going to save money, if we're going to bring down spending, we have to start there. I think another place that we could save on spending is introduce term limits across the board and don't give away healthcare across the board. Yeah. You serve 2 terms, you get healthcare for life. Yeah, nobody else gets that. I mean, I don't know if the rules have changed, but the last time I looked, that's the way it worked in Congress. So something to think about. Or you serve X amount of time, you get that for free, which is why they don't think like everybody else, because they're not everybody else. As soon as you hit the government and achieve certain levels in government, you're not like everybody else. I'm just saying, you are not like everybody else. Your kids will get jobs because people want to get close to you. That's a form of lobbying, although unofficial. That's still a form of lobbying. So lobbying rules need to be looked at very carefully. Going into Congress and being able to have access to all this information that can affect their bags directly. Insider information. Yeah, you see where this is going. This is what I mean. So yeah, there are a lot of things that we need to fix. And unless we fix those things, everything else is a joke. You put together some kind of a fake watchdog to come in and look at everything. You give them access to all of the data that's out there. And then you want to say that they're saving us money, but they're identifying contracts that were already due to be ended or have already ended. And they're trying to take credit for that. That sounds like to me that you just wanted to walk in and kill things like USAID and, USAID and other things that, other departments that might have been investigating certain people. The fight between arguably the most powerful person in the world and the richest person in the world all of a sudden just kind of goes away. Everything, all the oxygen in a room is now taken up by Iran and Iraq. Okay? We still have a tariff problem. We still have $37 trillion in debt. We still have the big BM of a bill that takes away a lot from people down here and gives it all to the people up there. There are a lot of things hidden in that bill. Go read the bill. There are a lot of things hidden in it, and you should be disgusted by it. But the amount of money, the value transfer is the greatest theft, or would be the greatest theft in American history. No place in that bill do they discuss lowering that $37 trillion in debt. No place. No place. The exact opposite. You give tax cuts to the people up there and tax increases to the people down here. How is that helpful again? How is that helpful again? Yeah. So really, looking at everything, it's one thing or another that's meant to take our attention away from that bill and certain laws being pushed away. Regulations that are looking to be pulled back. Think I'm playing about those banking regulations? That's one of the things he campaigned on. Imagine repositioning the country to re-experience 2008. I was telling you guys last night that you really should take a step back and go watch Too Big to Fail. Go watch that movie. It's no joke. Like I said, is it 100% true? All the conversations that happened? Not really, but you can see the outcomes. So they were pretty close. They were pretty close. And that's my dog Stitch acting up because probably another dog is on the block crossing in front of the house. And how dare they? Because he doesn't like that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we need to be paying attention to, that so many things are, kind of meant to take our attention away. You want to pass a bill that literally takes value from down here and gives it to everybody up here. How, ask yourself, how many people do you know that make over $900,000? Yet those are the people that aren't going to have to pay taxes on that $901. That $1 is, not taxed. Or even worse, taxed at a lower rate. People up here actually get tax cuts. Everybody else gets a tax increase. How do you figure that works? So, yeah, I have people working today, so I've got to be available. So yeah, when I look at things, I'm kind of like, ooh, we have a lot of stuff going on and we need to pay more attention to it. So I happen to be doing research and I happen to come across a little bit of news. Germany's anti-money laundering reports on crypto rose 8.2% to 8,711 being reported in 2025 already. Gold prices are near 34.55. Right? It's at 34.52, I think, right now. And that's due to, obviously, Middle Eastern tensions. Gold goes up, just saying. It's a safe haven, or pretty much a safe haven. Kaspersky has reported that 12 million Android attacks in Q1. Q1 2025 is up from 8.7 million in the prior quarter. 12.1 or 12 million versus 8.7 the previous quarter. Yeah. Not only do we have to grow our bags, but we have to watch our bags too. People get on me about, I don't click links. I'm not a link clicker. And people get on me about it, and I'm like, and you wonder why. Something, on your mobile device, it's harder to check if something is real or not. But you can't right click and see, what the properties are and things like that very easily. So everything for me, I just dump it in junk, and then I'll check my junk to see if it's real or not. And I look at some of those links and I'm like, oh, that's cute. I'm trying to figure out, some of these hackers, some of these phishing attacks are really, really slick. I got one, I want to say yesterday evening, and it was telling me that my email had been hacked and that I need to reset my password. And it was coming from email services from Microsoft. I looked at that email for a long minute. I wanted to see how good it was. It was really good. I didn't get caught out there because we're a Microsoft partner. We are the email team. You know what I mean? So I was looking at it, I was examining it from a regular person's perspective, like from my mom's perspective. Would she think that's messed up? She would, and she would call me up like, hey, son, did you mess with my email? Because I manage the family's email. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's garbage. That right click on it and send it to junk. But they're getting really, really slick, and they're getting better at it. And AI is helping. Artificial intelligence is helping those things get better, helping those scams get better. And then if you really stop and think about it, you want to know what the other problem is? Oh, let me tell you what the other problem is. The other problem is that AI isn't just helping, it's enhancing. And then on top of that, you've got all the hacks that have happened. Look over the past 2 weeks and go over to my articles, and, growmybag.tv, and look at how many things that I've reported about hacks. Yeah. I mean, what last week before last, I told you about 184 million person database that was left wide open on the internet for all to have. We don't know how long it was wide open on the internet. And here's the other part. That wasn't anybody's official database. That was just a database that had a lot of information on it. Oh, yeah. So imagine the stories that I could put together about you. I have information about your social security number, your address, your phone number, where you've bought things, maybe where you work. There's a whole lot of information out there about you, and you need to be a little bit more careful when you're growing your bags. Sounds simple, sounds easy, sounds smart, but really be more careful. Don't blindly click links, especially on your phone if that's the device that you're using for anything financial. Crypto, banking, credit card, anything that you use. If you're using your phone for that kind of stuff, yeah, don't click anything. Don't click links. It's hard to verify from a cell phone if that link is real. Unless you actually absolutely trust the source, be careful. And like I said, I'm really good at this stuff. This is what my company does. We saw a lot. That email, it looked like a Microsoft email. It's just that the link that you click, when you click the button, that link was all wrong. It was all wrong. Now, on some phones, you might be able to hold down the link and it'll pop up and you'll be able to see where it's going to take you, because that's what they're doing. They disguise it between a button and simple text and things like. Don't click it. Hold it down for a little bit and it'll pop up on some phones and it'll tell you where it's going to take you. And then you can determine if you actually want to go there or not. Just saying, be more careful. It's not just about growing our bags, but it's also about keeping our bags. Uncle Steve used to say, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And it's not just about how much you're spending. Everybody out there is trying to steal from you. Keep your wits about you is the point. Then we've got public companies, including Strategy, are buying Bitcoin using debt and convertible notes, despite risks like regulatory scrutiny and market volatility. What that means is they're selling stocks or other convertible debt to make these purchases. And the risk is that Bitcoin can go down. Now, Strategy is one of the few, the most famous and largest, that has actually weathered the storm. What do I mean by weathering the storm? Well, they bought the first time around when crypto hit 69, and then it dropped down to the 16s. Yeah, they weathered the storm. So right now, people are trusting Strategy and their strategy. And then you have other companies that are trying to mimic that strategy. Just remember that it's not that long ago that Strategy's, average price for Bitcoin was only $35,000. Let that wash over you for a minute. So they've got room and they've got track record. They have a lot of things going for them that say, well, their strategy is working for them. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. Just saying. And you have a lot of public companies that are out there doing this. Institutions control about 30.9% of all of the Bitcoin that's out there, about 6.1 million BTC. 30.9%. 6.1 million of the Bitcoin out there is controlled by institutions. I'm sure that's racking your brain at the moment. Now you know why, I just said, oh, you know what? Let me record this. This would be important for my kids. So that's what I'm doing. JP Morgan, Bank of America, and TD Bank faced data breaches involving employee misuse and lost customer documents, including seized assets. Yeah, that's a data problem. Those are data breaches. Those are things that the government would normally come in and smack them. The government's got really soft hands right now when it comes to the banking industry. Stop and think about that. They're not here to protect you. They're in it to protect themselves. Now, think about that. These banks got breached. You trust them with your money? Oh, and when you give them your money, how much do you actually get out of it? You don't make the money that they make. Saving is giving your money to somebody else and them making money off your money. Meaning they're using your money to make themselves money. Investing is you making money off your money. Which is better? Just wondering, but which do you think is better? I keep very little money in the bank. Very little. Enough to pay bills that I can't pay for with crypto. That's it. Let my mortgage company call me up talking about, oh, you can pay with crypto. Let these companies call me up talking about I can pay, using my digital assets. What? No problem. People are like, why would you want to use your crypto? Because that's what the hell it was meant for. I hate that question. It's a stupid question. Everybody's telling you, hodl. Really? Back in the day, that made sense. Crypto's meant to be used. Save some, you use some. Save some, you use some. Just putting that out there for you. Imagine Strategy's plan is to not sell any of their crypto ever. Look at how many other companies are out there saying, oh yeah, we're not going to sell our crypto ever. Now go back to that 30.9, almost 31% of the crypto is controlled by institutions. One of the largest in that case is BlackRock. I keep telling people that at some point, these companies are not going to let, enough Bitcoin flow, and people will just say, okay, forget about Bitcoin. We'll move to something else. How long will that be? How long will that be? Just saying. U.S. Treasury's $20 billion bond buyback aims to improve liquidity, not stealth QE. I think it's stealth QE. It's been clarified by so-called experts like this guy, what's his name again? Jim Bianco, and of course Scott Bessent. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, smells like, looks like quantitative easing. $20 billion in buybacks? Come on, really? Again, tonight's question, what mobile carrier got hacked? AT&T, Vodafone, T-Mobile, or Verizon? Dude, it's QE just because, hello, Hutanek, by the way. It's QE just because they're doing it. They're going to buy back your debt? Interesting. And carrying it on the budget? I mean, how else would you do it? You know what I mean? How do you account for that? Technically, there are other ways, but I mean, those other ways are a little sticky. One more time, tonight's question, what mobile carrier got hacked? AT&T, Vodafone, T-Mobile, or Verizon? You only have 4 votes. I'd like one more, at least one more. Nah, it's not really quite QE 2.0. You know what I mean? It's not quite there yet. I think, the government's trying to do certain things. I told you, there are different levers between the different branches of government. Powell has a couple of levers that he can pull. Scott Bessent has a couple of levers that he can pull. right? Go take a look. I'm telling people all the time, go watch Too Big to Fail. Go watch Too Big to Fail, please. That movie tells you a lot about all of the banks, all of the players, what happened, who does what. We had a global problem. A global problem. Countries were saying, no, we're not playing with you. You understand what I'm saying? Go watch that movie and you'll really, your eyes wide open. 0.9, yes. Yes, I could go for that. So yeah, there's little bits and pieces. And what else is expanding? BRICS expanded. Vietnam has been recognized as the 10th partner nation. Number 10, Vietnam. It's not a big country, doesn't have a big economy, but it's still yet another country. Here's my issue, though. And I've said this before. BRICS to me is not an economic bloc. It's a political bloc. BRICS to me is destined to fail. It could cause problems, but I think it's destined to fail. Why? Look at the players in BRICS, and then you'll understand one of the reasons why I think it's destined to fail. What's the other reason why I think BRICS is destined to fail? Oh, maybe cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies. Why would I want to trust your... When you look at these institutions that are really moving money around in big ways, why would I trust your fiat? Got this thing right here called crypto. We can use one of these, and I can send you the money, and we won't be in control of anything. All that good stuff. Thank you, Hutanik. I appreciate that. So yeah, I think about this. I think about this stuff, and we should really be paying attention. And so many people are not paying attention. I don't understand why. I don't get it. I lay out the news every day. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits. Absolutely invest deliberately. So many people are not doing that, and they're wondering why they're falling. It feels like they're falling behind. Well, you are. You feel that way because you are. If you can't look at egg prices and literally shrug it off like it's no big deal, like whatever, then you're falling behind. Dead serious. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being honest. Right? I only have a potential Father's Day out there somewhere, maybe. Dude, really? BRICS could adopt BTC easily. But then it wouldn't serve then it wouldn't do what they want to do. Like I said, I don't think it's an economic bloc. I think it's a political bloc. And there are issues with a few of those countries that are in that bloc. The strongest one in that bloc not even might, is India. Some people could say, arguably, it's China. I think it's India. Dead serious. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. That's the one. Could they move to crypto? Yes, they could. Easily, quickly. It would hurt them. They don't want to do that. If they were going to do that, they would have come out the gate with that, Holmes House. They would have come out the gate with that. And that would have been interesting. They can't. I don't think they can. You only want to reserve a currency by 5% at max. You don't want too strong of a currency for trade. That's why it's a problem. But that's why it's a problem. A lot of these countries make money off of that swing, and that was the whole point of having a reserve currency rather. Dollar was dependable. Everything's pegged against the dollar, so it makes sense for it to be the dollar, and then everything gets pegged to the. You see how that goes? Yeah. Moving to Bitcoin, they would have problems. They can't control anything. They can't inflate, deflate the value of their currency versus that currency, because Bitcoin would be Bitcoin. I told you before that the cost, right? The cost basis of items is currently valued by fiat. When it flips over to Bitcoin or whatever other crypto, okay, that's when change is here. That's when change is here. Smoke and mirrors do work in daylight. Black smoke, mirrors, yeah, they could work. I mean, I didn't say it would work well. But yeah, your point is very true. But I look at these things and I just say to myself, there are a lot of things that can move. We have too many macro events out there, or too many things that qualify as macro events. Okay? We have Europe dropping their interest rates, right? Other countries dropping their interest rates a lot lately. We haven't done anything. Why? Too much chaos. Too much chaos. We might be forced to drop rates now because of Iran, Israel, Ukraine, Russia. Where was Russia getting its armaments? Most of it, Iran. Now Iran has got its own problems, and they might not be able to back up Russia. Aha. Yeah, Russia's big, big and strong. Yeah, not so much. So Russia's got problems. And if the United States decides to step into the game, Iran's got really big problems. But nobody wants that, though. If something happens with Iran, is Russia going to feel that they have to get into it? They still have nukes. They don't have much of anything, but they still have a lot of nukes. Nobody wants that. Imagine if Iran had nuclear weapons right now. What would be going on? Oof. The fallout. Oof. How would that affect all of our bags? From an economic perspective, those are two big problems. $36 trillion in debt. The debt around the globe is a general problem. The debt around the globe is a general problem. And just when you think the United States is the strongest economy out there, you start to realize, holy smokes, we're being held up by a bunch of cards. That's all it takes. I'm not being, funny. I'm being honest. This is why we have to kind of grow our bags. I'm not going to depend on somebody else to grow my bag. I have to grow my bags. If they drop rates, it will not last 12 months. What do you mean it? The rate drop itself won't last 12 months? Can't say I disagree with that, if that's what you mean. What effect will it have? There are too many macro events. There's just too much. Me, though, I think that by the end of the year, we could see at least a 75 basis point cut from the rates. What will this guy be doing? I'll be looking to see if there's anything out there that's cheap. Because the cost of money went down. Yeah, you start to look at things like that. Some people are convinced the economy is strong. Who? People that are really playing with money? No, the economy is not strong. We have a real estate problem. Stop there. We have a real estate problem. There are so many buildings in New York City that are looking to convert at least a portion of the building to residences. Think about that. Portions of buildings are being converted You've got one massive building downtown. Right now, it's still the largest conversion project going in the country. But imagine, and this is after forcing everybody to go back to the office. The fact is that, where are those jobs popping up? They're moving the jobs, so people are moving. You want me to come to an office? Are you serious? I'm not going to anybody's office. That's what people are saying. I'm not going to anybody's office. The amount of money that I spend to support me going to an office, just talking in terms of everybody. I mean, in New York, I've got to go from the burbs to the city, right? Even within the city, I've got to travel to work. I'm talking minimum a few $100s a month to commute. Forget about, I work in a real office. I've got to dress nice. Okay, so cleaning, the type of clothes I wear, all that stuff costs money. Bond rates are indicating 9% because buyers are not at the table. Ding. Lack of confidence. Ding. Stable coins will be forced to buy bonds at sky high rates. Ding. And then everybody and their mama is going to open up a stable coin, because if you use a stable coin, you got to pay the fees when you send them money, and they're going to collect the fees because it's their stable coin. That's why everybody wants to start a stable coin. I'm just saying. I think that we're in for a lot of consolidation. I think we're in for some volatile times. You know, one thing that can spur the economy, that I feel like I'm the only one that's saying it out loud, and it's approve ETFs. Approve ETFs. You will have money flow. You will have money flowing in big ways. Very big ways. So is that going to happen? I think it's manipulation. I think it's market manipulation. I think they want to wait until later on in the year to fire off, you know, those ETFs, because then people will flock to them, put money in, and blah, 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 blah. More money that they have, the more assets under management they have, the more money that can be lent out and all that other good stuff. Yeah. Last quarter of the year, I can see that happening. Like, everything kicks off in September because August is a huge vacation month. It's the summertime. Everybody's on freaking vacation. Just saying. I don't know who thinks the economy is strong right now. Ham's house, I'm having a hard time. Do I believe that what you're saying is truthful? Yes. However, why would you think that? When your economy is so fragile, and we're sitting on a commercial real estate bubble that can damage, like what? Yeah. I'm all about getting my bags right now. Not even playing. We're in a no bueno situation. We're absolutely in a no bueno situation right now. So yeah, I'm paying attention. GameStop settled $4.5 million for allegedly sharing customer data with Facebook, affecting users who purchased games online between 2020 and 2025. Yeah, deep into this year. Yeah, the SEC approved Trump Media's $2.3 billion Bitcoin treasury deal with Crypto.com and Anchorage Digital as custodians. When I first broke that news, I was like, I wonder how fast, approval is going to come for this. Came mad fast, right? A deal like this gets approved and the ETFs don't. that have been sitting there for way longer, but that gets approved? Make it make sense. Anybody, Hutanic, Hum's House, make it make sense. Anybody, give me an idea how that makes sense. Anybody, just give me something to go on. All these ETFs, you won't approve that. But something for Trump media gets approved. For the past 20 years, we have added $1 trillion of debt each year. Make that make sense. Good luck with that. I can't. I cannot. Maybe it's because of Bitcoin. You're going to blame Bitcoin for debt? Or are you talking about Trump media's $2.3 billion Bitcoin treasury deal with crypto.com? Help me. Help make it make sense. Everything seems to be a big grift in my eyes. Everything seems to be a big grift. I just can't. I just absolutely cannot. 4.5. I want to know how much GameStop got paid by Facebook before I judge that 4.5 million. Because for them to be giving data to Facebook, they didn't give it. They got paid to give it, which means they sold it. How much money did they make? Because if they got paid 10 million and they're only getting slapped on the wrist for 4.5, they're still netting 5.5 mil. If what they made was, I'm just giving a hypothetical. I want to know how much they made versus how much they're being slapped on the wrist for. It might not hurt them. They might be sitting there going, thanks for that. Do you know how many of these things come across and they get a fine, but the amount of the fine does not do anything to deter them from doing it again because the fine was so freaking cheap that it's just funny? Happens all the time. Happens all the time. It's not a bueno thing. And that's what I try to have people understand. This is why I do the research. So do you see all the points that I brought up today? This is why I think it's messed up. This is why I sit back and I just go, wow, this is some serious stuff. This is some serious stuff. I'm bringing you, 13 points? 13 articles. I published 14, but I'm giving you 13 right now. Imagine. And I know why I think about that. Oh, tonight's question. What mobile carrier got hacked? AT&T, Vodafone, T-Mobile, or Verizon? Wow. People have no faith in AT&T. No faith in AT&T. Vodafone, I'm pretty sure nobody in the United States know who Vodafone is. Go look it up. It's a really big company, international. Verizon is actually the world's largest digital security firm. Believe it or not, they are. No, they were not hacked. T-Mobile. Hackers claim 64 million T-Mobile records were leaked, though the company denies it while separately settling a $350 million breach from 2021. If a hacker tells me something happened and the company tells me no, it didn't happen, I'm believing the hacker. I've worked with a number of hackers. A number of hackers. And hacker tells me something. Yeah, I'm going to believe that. I've seen what these hackers can do. 64 million T-Mobile records. They can deny as much as they want. It's fine. Deny it. It's cool. I'm not going to believe you. I'm not. With all the hacking that's been going on, and I'm supposed to believe that T-Mobile is oh so strong. Let me put it to you like this. If you receive a text message from a number that you don't know, and it's spam, or you receive a text message and it's from an email address, if you receive phone calls from phone numbers you don't know, and then you try to call those phone numbers back and you get doo-doo-doo, sorry, that number doesn't exist. How the hell did that phone call happen then? It happened via your network, and you don't see that going on. If you can't solve that problem, I'm not going to believe a word you have to say about security. Because you're not securing your bag, what makes you your money. So again, me and what I do for a living, what me and my crew do for a living, I'm going to believe the hackers. That is like half of the T-Mobile customer base. And you know what's really funny is, let's suppose it all goes away at some point. At some point. I'm not sure how to help you with that. Shut up. It's Alexa. So yeah, I pulled the plug. So imagine what really happens. I'm sitting back and I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to believe any company. If a hacker comes out and says, oh, we got some stuff. I'll play this out for you. Google, Apple, Microsoft, Netflix. Let's just run with Netflix. That 184 million records, that database that was out there, one piece of it was Netflix. Let's go with Netflix. Netflix has your information, or it has your information out there. Then now these hackers get your telephone records. What kind of a story can I put together right there? Every time there's a hack, you have to look at all the previous hacks and say to yourself, what other information do they have about me? And when you answer that question, now you can actually sit back and you can say to yourself, wait a minute, they'd be able to put together this kind of story and come after me directly, or go after my contacts because they have my phone records, go after my contacts, and they'll think it's real because I have enough information, or they have enough information to tell a real enough story. Just imagine, go to ChatGPT and just say, you know, here are the hacks that have happened as of late, and the information that they have, and pretend that you are one of the best hackers in the world and you're great at putting together phishing scams. With the data that's at your fingertips right now, what are the top 3 phishing scams that you would run? I know I just blew people's minds just now. I know I just blew people's minds right now. All kinds of stuff that I'd be able to put at your fingertips right now to be able to say, oh, this is what you're looking at. Fun, right? Just saying. Intentional to force digital IDs combined with ICE reasons. There's a report out right now that's saying that if you plan on going to the FIFA games in Miami, you should walk around with your papers in case you get picked up by ICE. How's that going to affect our economy? World Cup games? How's that going to affect our economy? Like, what? Yeah. That's a wowzer. And then you have the current regime. What'd he do? Oh, he walked back, going after people that work on farms and in certain other places, because they've been leaving literally food in the fields, and that causes a problem. Because they effed around and they found out we can't just kick these people out of the country because there is nobody lining up to take those jobs. There's nobody lining up to get out there and pick those fruit and till the land and all that kind of farmer stuff. Nobody's doing that. So the lie that they've weaved starts to unravel, because it affects our economy in a major fashion, not just from a job perspective, but from a farm to plate perspective. That costs money, and that would go up in major ways. And you can't have people's food prices going up as we just rifle toward holiday season. Imagine, because that's when it would start affecting everybody. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Certain realities hit home, and you wonder why I say we've got to invest. If you plan on going someplace, have your papers with you. I'm sorry. That's reminiscent of WW2 times, isn't it? Walk around with your papers to prove who you are, where you're from. Florida got tough with immigration and they left. They had truckers not want to come to their state. They had people not not come show up to their construction jobs, people not show up to their farming jobs. It hurt a lot. It hurt a lot. And now we literally saw that play out in Florida, and now we're literally seeing it play out nationally. Holy moly, they got what they want. And you have people on both sides of the aisle saying, damn, this is not really good. People on one side of the aisle saying, this is not what we voted for. What the hell did you vote for then? Economics? I mean, if you're basing your vote on economics, how's that economy doing? How's that economy doing? Just saying. I firmly believe that, yes, we'll get 2 rate cuts over the coming year. I think had we not introduced so much chaos, if we had introduced no chaos, I firmly believe that we would have had 3 or 4 this year. But because everything has been manipulated, what do you expect Powell to do? I'm telling you, put all this stuff together and go watch Too Big to Fail. Go watch how we got into this situation, how we got into that 2008 situation, and look at everything now. It's extremely chaotic right now. It is. The U.S. debt would be better if we divided it up per capita. Adding 20 million would greatly help. No, I would not divide it up per capita. I would first say who's not paying what they were supposed to pay. Nobody actually wants to tackle that number. Nobody wants to do the math on that number. I think that number is huge. I think that number is huge. How many tax incentives get given to businesses, large businesses that say they're going to bring jobs and do this and that and the other, and all they've done is suck the life out of the have-nots, and all the haves make money. What percentage of people in this country are actually invested in the stock market? Let's start there. There are too many things that are wrong and so many ways that we can fix them, but nobody wants to fix them because it would piss off the rich and the wealthy, it piss off the powerful. But if we don't piss them off, we're destined for problems. Big problems. So just saying, we might want to do some things. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor. Hit the like button. Tell your friends about this community. We've got a lot of great stuff going on, and we're having nothing but fun. We're helping each other learn, helping each other grow our bags, and that's the whole point of it. We're not here to talk about, oh, the market's going up. We're not here to cry, oh, the market's going down. We're here to help each other learn how to do better when the market's doing poor or well. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. I hope you like what I'm doing. As for tomorrow, it's Father's Day. As you all know, I am a dad. I don't know if there's going to be a show. If there'll be a show, I'll just throw up a show and that'll be it. But I really don't know as of yet if there's going to be a show. And there's a lot to discuss over the past week, right? Sunday Roundup would be massive this year. Crypto Sticko was good. Thank you very much for that. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. For all the fathers out there, in case I don't count back on, happy Father's Day to you. Everybody have a good one. Bye-bye.